Tropic Thunder is the 2008 action comedy directed by Ben Stiller, and it stars Ben Stiller along with Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr., along with tons of other celebrities in this movie.
Laundry list.
Yeah, a lot of cameos in this movie. So, once again, for the month of August, we're going back to 2008, and you chose Tropic Thunder for us to review. Personally, I like this movie. How do you feel about Tropic Thunder and how it's aged since 2008?
Well, when this movie first came out, I absolutely loved it. I love just the Hollywood satire genre itself. Like movies like this, or even movies from a few years before, like Bowfinger.
Yeah.
Something like that, where it takes on like the tropes of Hollywood and kind of like pokes fun at the behind the scenes of a movie.
Yeah.
And this is like taken to the extreme, like, you know,
Big
just
time.
like big scale blockbuster. I guess I should say it's scaled up.
Yes. Yeah. I compare it to the Three Amigos a lot. You know.
Yeah, it is. It
like,
is very
that's
much like that.
Similar, but like you said, bigger scope, bigger scale, and maybe quite possibly more clueless characters in this one because they are pretty hilariously dumb in this movie.
Yeah, well, it's just making fun of like the actor being, you know, a Hollywood actor being so like self-obsessed and egomaniacal that, you know, they're in their own world. Even when they get put into another world, they're still in their own world.
Exactly, and like they almost build a Hollywood world in this movie off the bat. You see a lot of trailers at the beginning, fake trailers. These are
hilarious.
some of my favorite moments of
Yeah.
the movie. Is when they really show Hollywood for what it like. Maybe an exaggerated version of the slimy underbelly of what Hollywood is, kind of. So I do think the commentary in this movie is fantastic, and I think it holds up today since 2008.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there are offensive parts of the humor, and I get that some people might be turned off by that, but it's one of those things where, especially given this era, 2008, like go back and watch South Park in those years and everything.
Right.
Just like everything's heightened up offensive, like crude, hard-edged humor was kind of a trend back
It's almost
then.
like it peaked.
Yeah, so I can't.
It started to be like,
Yeah,
all right,
and
everyone.
then everybody's
gotta
like,
be-
all right, man, everybody's going too far with it. Let's
Yeah.
chill out with,
Yeah.
you know, some of the language that we're using. So I can't, like, retroactively fault it because at the time that's what people were going for. And frankly, that was what was funny at the time.
It really was, and it poked fun, like you said, at just like things that you really cannot poke fun at anymore here. And I think that we should talk specifically about Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in this, because although pretty controversial, like just not only for the movie itself, but like what he did for this movie to actually win an Oscar nomination for what he did.
The Oscars, the Academy loves it when there's some movie that's just like, you know, cherishing old Hollywood and something like that. So I think with this, it was like they were cherishing Hollywood and just like how extreme actors go into their characters sometimes because Robert Downey Jr.'s character was supposed to be like a blend of Colin Farrell and Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Just like a rebel, but he's like deep method actor like that. But as far as his performance, fantastic. It's still great. And I know that it's controversial, but it's never like offensive. And even when it is offensive, he gets checked on it by the actual black actor.
Yeah, I think that he rides a line that's really rare, and that is that, yeah, I don't really feel offended by him through the whole thing, but it almost seems like I should. But because he is acting so well, because he is portraying this character so well, it's forgiving. Because it's almost respectably done in a comedic way. It's a really weird line that he walks in that.
I think the cast top to bottom in this is great. I mean, Steve Coogan, Nick Nolte, Brandon T. Jackson, just like all over the place. Danny McBride, you know, wherever you go, I think there's just a hilarious character, and I don't think there's any excessive characters as far as like they don't serve the story. You know, Bill Hader and even Tom Cruise and
yeah, and
Tom
Matthew
Cruise.
McConaughey.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Just see, there's people I'm forgetting because there's just so many great
There
characters and actors in this movie.
There is. I do like pretty much top to bottom, but there is one standout, and for me, standout in a bad way. And I love Jack Black, but I do not like Jack Black in this movie. I think he serves a purpose for the plot. He does. But if someone were to watch Jack Black for the first time and this was the role that they saw, they'd be like, I don't think I like this guy. Because he's just kind of annoying to me in this.
I think his comedy is dialed down. I
It-
think
it
that
is.
he's
I
just
guess he doesn't
he's
shine
not
as much.
Yeah, and that might be it. Like maybe the cast just outshines him.
Yeah.
As to like maybe, and also he wasn't given a lot to work with as far as like the comedy of it. Like he's a drug addict and he's looking for drugs, and like, you know, there's
That's
funny
it.
moments along the
Yeah.
way with that. But it's just like it's very one note with this comedy, where it's like, you know,
It is.
Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller, they got deep psychological issues going on,
Yeah.
and, you know, with their characters. So
The Fatties trailer is super funny.
Just like I just like how they're going for like these kind of cliches of actors. Like, here's the deep method actor, here's like the idiot action star, and then like here's the comedy sellout. Like, I just kind of like, so even though I think I don't like comedy sellouts, so he was playing that character. It's like, can turn you off a little bit.
Sure, but you're right about the Fatties and just these trailers in general, where they're touching on like, you know, Forrest Gump types of trailers and the Nutty Professor types of trailers and like deep religious movies type of trailers, and then like the off the wall action movie, which is like what Ben Stiller's character is like an action star, and they touch on them so perfectly of their exaggeration that like it's almost bordering on people would go to the movies and watch it and take it seriously.
Oh, no. With these, when they're poking fun at things, when they're being satirical, it's never malicious. No. It's never like they're like, you know, being mean, but they're just like pointing out, like, if you understand the intent of the joke, and they're just poking fun at like how there are actors who take on, you know, the role of someone mentally challenged to try to, you know,
elevate their career.
Right, exactly. Get some awards attention, you know, and there are actors who just stick to these franchises no matter how bad the movies are, you know, no matter how ridiculous the movies are. This movie has surprisingly good action.
Yeah.
I thought there were some really tense moments.
Ben Stiller is a good director in general. There's a lot of his movies that I really enjoy. I think this is probably his best, though, when it comes to direction. For him to handle a movie of this scope and to handle the material that it is, I think that he's probably at the top of his game with this.
I think this is his best movie that he's directed. But as far as like technical, even though I don't like some of the storytelling choices, I think like Secret Life of Walter Mitty, like the technical achievements of that kind of outshine this. But as far as like narrative, you know, acting and, you know, technical achievement, I do think this is his best.
Any flaws?
I think if there's one, it's not necessarily a flaw, but maybe a warning. There's a lot of stuff you won't get if you're not familiar with these trends and tropes in Hollywood, and also if you haven't seen like at least half a dozen Vietnam movies, specifically Platoon, Apocalypse Now, you know, or else you're not going to get them.
Yeah,
you're not going to get why Tug Speedman goes insane if you don't watch Apocalypse Now. You're not going to get why he has mud on his face if you don't watch Apocalypse Now.
Exactly, and I think that for me, this movie, especially if you haven't seen those movies, you won't understand that. And even though it is only about an hour and 45 minutes, it does feel a little long to me. Sometimes it seems
the third act drags. I'll give you that,
the third act just sort of drags a little bit to me. Other than that, I think that Tropic Thunder is not only like an enjoyable, awesome comedy. I think it's an important comedy for the era of 2008, because you might be right. It might have peaked out on its offensiveness to the point where it was so aware that it was starting to tell people to be like, all right, you know what, maybe we should ease off a little bit. But I think that it does it the best way possible.
Yeah, I think with every great comedy, it's kind of a time capsule.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you watch the comedy in something like Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And it might blow you away with just, you know, how liberal they are with the offensive words in that movie. But it was 1974, so, you know, and there was those post-civil rights era, you know, Mel Brooks, they're trying to say something with that movie. Sure. So it's like wrapped up in its own time capsule. So I think that this movie also qualifies.
Buffs. All right, so we gave you our thoughts on Tropic Thunder. For this one, since it's been out for 10 years, we're just going to do our classic 1 through 10.
Yeah, it's not a release.
Yeah, it's not a release, exactly. So go ahead, 1 through 10. What would you give Tropic Thunder?
I think that this movie is very funny, surprisingly well done action. And the acting, the characters, top to bottom, I love them. I love all the jokes, and I think that not every one of them hits, but way more hit than they don't. So I'll give Tropic Thunder an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a blast to watch this movie. It's super funny. It's aged very well, and you're right, just really good direction and acting in this, like, Oscar-nominated acting in this movie. So it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it. I'm going to go right there with you. I'm going to go an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed Tropic Thunder. Highly recommended. Buffs. All right, guys, so that's our review of Tropic Thunder. Have you seen the movie? How does it hold up after 10 years? Leave all your comments down below.
And be sure to join us in September. We'll be rolling into these Diamond Anniversary reviews. Another comedy, the Coen Brothers offering from 2008, Burn After Reading. It's been a while since I watched this one.
An interesting one, yeah.
It'd be fun to go back to. So look for that review next month. But no matter where you are, no matter who you're with,
watch more movies.